Today, we're digging up a World War II survival hack that's brutally simple and still makes sense: the bicycle generator. It's not glamorous, it's not high tech, it's literally turning leg pain into electricity. Welcome to the Apocalypse Gym membership. Cancellation is not available. Back in World War II, blackouts weren't a vibe, they were policy. Cities went dark to avoid being easy targets. Fuel was rationed. Batteries weren't something you ordered online with 2 clicks and an emotional support coupon. If you wanted power for a radio, light, or charging a battery, you had to get creative. And one of the most practical solutions was pedal power. The concept is simple. A bike is already designed to convert human effort into rotation. If you can spin something, you can run a generator. So people used bicycles to drive small generators, charge batteries, and keep radios alive. That mattered because radios were the internet of the era. In crisis, information is oxygen. You don't want to be the last person finding out what's happening because your plan was to sit in the dark and guess. So how do these systems actually work? You take a bicycle and keep it stationary so the rear wheel can spin freely. Your legs turn the crank, the chain turns the rear wheel, and that wheel drives a generator. That generator could be a proper dynamo, a DC motor used in reverse, or even an alternator if you really hate yourself and want to fight efficiency. The important part is transfer. You need the spinning wheel to spin the generator. That can happen a few ways. The simplest is friction drive, where a roller presses against the tire. Easy, but it can slip and waste power as heat. Belt drive is cleaner and more efficient, using a belt and pulleys to spin the generator. Chain drive can work too, especially if you're using bike gears to get the generator spinning faster. And speed matters, because generators like RPM, pedaling is slow compared to what many generators want, so you usually gear it up. Bigger wheel pulley, smaller generator pulley, and suddenly the generator spins fast enough to make useful output. It's basically mechanical cheating, which is the only kind of cheating that's allowed in survival. Now let's talk about what you can realistically power with your own legs, because this is where people get delusional. An average person can sustain around 100 watts for a decent amount of time. Fit people can push more, but the key word is sustain. This isn't a 10-second flex for social media. This is keep it going while you sweat in the dark. And 100 watts is actually useful, as long as you're not trying to run appliances that were designed to drink electricity like it's a sports drink. A microwave is around 1,000 watts, a kettle can be 1,500 to 2,000 watts. A space heater is a full-on electricity vampire. You are not beating those with your legs. If you try, your blackout will turn into a blackout plus a medical emergency. But for the stuff that matters, pedal power is solid. LED lights are insanely efficient. One LED bulb might be 5 to 10 watts. That means you can light up a room, not like a nightclub, but enough to function without eating the floor. Radios are easy, charging phones is doable, charging power banks is perfect because it stores your effort. Flashlight batteries, headlamps, rechargeable AA and AAA cells, all great targets. Small fans, maybe? A laptop is possible, but it's a heavier lift because laptops can pull a lot more power than phones. You can do it, but you'll feel it in your soul. The laptop will be fine. You will be the one questioning your life choices. The best way to use a bicycle generator is not powering devices directly while you pedal like a hamster. The best way is charging a battery first, because raw pedal power is inconsistent. You speed up, voltage rises. You slow down, voltage drops. Electronics hate chaos. Batteries don't mind it as much if you use the right charge control. Once you've charged a battery, you can run your devices steadily later without needing to pedal in real time, just to keep a light on while you do something important, like not dying. So how do you actually make one? You've got a few levels here, from basic survival build to I watched 3 DIY videos and now I think I'm an electrical engineer. First, you need a bike and a way to keep it stationary. A cheap bike trainer stand works great. You can also build a simple wooden frame or use anything that lifts the rear wheel so it can spin freely. The goal is stable. If the bike wobbles, your power output wobbles, and your teeth might wobble too. Second, you need a generator. The easiest practical DIY option is a permanent magnet DC motor used as a generator. Treadmill motors are a classic because they're designed for decent power and they're often easy to salvage. You can also buy a suitable DC generator motor online. A small bike dynamo can work too, but it's usually lower power and better for lights than charging big batteries. Car alternators can work, but they often need higher RPM and they're less efficient for human power unless you really optimize the gearing. Translation, it's doable, but it's more hassle. Third, you need a way to connect the spinning wheel to the generator. Friction drive is the simplest. Press a roller or the motor shaft against the tire. People literally mount the motor so the shaft touches the tire, and when the wheel spins, it spins the motor. It works, but it can slip, especially if the tire is wet or the pressure is off. Belt drive is better if you can set it up. Put a pulley on the wheel or use the tire as a belt surface, then run a belt to a smaller pulley on the motor. The smaller pulley on the motor makes it spin faster, which helps output. You can also use the bike's gears to your advantage by selecting a gear that keeps your cadence comfortable while the wheel spins fast. Fourth, you need regulation. This is the part people skip and then wonder why their stuff doesn't charge. The output from a generator varies. So you use a regulator or a charge controller depending on what you're doing. If you want to charge a 12-volt battery, you use a proper charge controller setup that won't overcharge it. If you want USB charging, you use a DC-DC buck converter to get stable 5 volts. If you want AC outlets, you need an inverter connected to a battery. But remember, every conversion wastes power, which means more pedaling. If you want the most efficiency, keep it DC and charge a battery bank, then run USB and DC lights directly. And finally, you want basic monitoring. This is not fancy. A simple voltmeter and ammeter lets you see what you're producing and whether you're actually charging anything. Otherwise, you're just pedaling blindly, which is a great way to do a lot of work for 0 results. In a real blackout, you don't want "I think it's charging" as your plan. You want numbers. So here's the bottom line. World War II pedal generators worked because they were simple, rugged, and based on a truth that still holds. When the grid fails, electricity becomes a survival tool, not a convenience. A bicycle generator won't run your whole life. It will run the parts that keep you functional. Light, information, communication, battery charging. And the best part is it doesn't require fuel deliveries, sunlight, or prayers. It runs on you, which is both empowering and deeply annoying. But that's survival. If you want power when everything else quits, you either have stored energy or you become the energy source.